brings people closer together. Best I can come up with.
Yeah, I'd like the weird thing is like I think for Zipto, they come in as favorites. They come in as the team that have won the last two. They have their map choice, then a map that they've already beaten their opponents on.
Yep.
But it does seem like the mental game might be the biggest factor here. Like Ninetales with the crowd firmly on their side, big hero plays, huge dominant victory, and their opponent, while looking a bit mentally boomed, it's going to be difficult to reset that in such a short amount of time. As I said, it's good they've got their coach here now, but can that make the difference?
Oh no!
And it's capricious.
Don't start like this. It's not. It can't be a knife. Okay, it's the spray. At least the bullet takes them down. And an opening pick for Ninetales. And Sammy will be caught on the way back though. Good trade, and it's leaving just one towards this B side. A lot of pressure now mounting on Full Moon, but Full Moon's been delivering almost every time.
Oh.
Great flash, great dive, still alive, but finally Full Moon falls.
Yeah, Graham's. Ooh, nice shot, but an immediate trade. Stun out, Ever under pressure and gone, and now it's left all onto Dana. A chance here, the shots almost managing to remove another. Both players tagged low.
One hit.
An opportunity, but it is baller from Graham's just straight across. Finds the kill and an important triple to get them that pistol.
Phenomenal to see. And for Graham's as well, a 3-0 start in terms of the KD, a 1-0 start for Zipto, but we need to see a lot more because it was a 3-0 beginning to Pearl, and then everything fell apart.
She was also there pretty much the whole map though. Like even though a lot of the time I feel like she was in like 1vx scenarios, Graham's stats, if you go back to that last map, were decent. So I don't think she's going to be lacking any confidence. It's some of the other players that need to sort of step up alongside her.
I think that's something that was discussed on the desk, right? Bringing in Yuumi on the waylay, having that double dive, it's very, very strong, and I think that's something that will play in Zipto's favor. That's a little bit late with the trap going down, so it will be destroyed. So no late round control over Bath unless you're putting players there, and Ninetales certainly are. Not quite the fight that they expected as Sammy takes a double. And Zipto, they're a player down with a big stack on this A side. If they decide to run into it, they've made the right call to just back off.
Full Moon. Now no longer on that Senti roll, which was so impactful in the last, but still up to the same mischief. Worryingly, Dana's managed to get herself a Bucky. This is one of the few places that's perfect, but the paranoia is good. Close angle, nice work from Ever. How has she managed to get two? She was low on HP already, and then the flank out from Full Moon. Well, it's not a 3-0 start this time. It's a MasterCard Thrifty in round number 2.
After the map they just had, this has got to be soul crushing for Zipto. The double kill here was insane. Full Moon's timing on the flank, it was being watched the entire time, and I'm not joking. The second that they turned, around goes Full Moon. The wrap is in, and that's why they're so patient then in that bathroom fight later, knowing that there should be one, if not more, coming their way. MasterCard Thrifty, and a third round now that sets Ninetales up to really steal away this early half from Zipto. Yeah, you're not getting too close now, are you? Even with the stun hitting. Pulled back by the utility. The walkthrough, not going to find anyone on the other side. Nobody isolated on Ninetales as they just give up this space.
I guess you weren't expecting Dana to be up there. It looks a little silly, and wow! Okay, Dana! Crowd open for an ace. Well, I was going to say it doesn't look possible because of the position. They're not going for a knife.
They're giving it to her. No, they're giving her the ace.
Okay.
They're giving her the ace. That's a good teammate right there. You'll love to see it.
That's what we like to see from Dana. The 16-year-old gets the ace on the stage. A youngster with a huge amount of confidence already, and that's only going to send it flying. I'm almost just waiting for the reaction. There you go. We're looking at the coaches. I want to see Dana's reaction.
Maybe she was just a stone cold killer in that moment.
She was celebrating on the cam. I can see it.
Well, fourth round and a chance for Zipto to deal some damage. Trades are good to start it. for the defensive side, who do come in with some weaknesses. The problem here for Zipto is when it comes to retakes, if that's where they end up, or a bit, I guess, too much of a telegraphed play, the ulti online for Dana, which no surprise after the ace in the previous, have a lot of impact bridging the gap between any weaknesses and the rifles in play, but, well, there's no weaknesses anymore. The Outlaw's on the floor. Dana, though, ready and waiting. The ult will be popped. The timing is near perfect. Both players caught in the corner, but Khan was not stunned up. Zipto only have Ever to deal with, and those salvos will give the position away.
It's a reveal.
Spike planted.
That already being pulled in as well by Capricious Utility. A decent recovery from Zipto. A round on the board, but you also have to bear in mind that the economy of Ninetales over the last couple has been sent, well, flying. They've got so many credits to spare, so even though there were a couple of weaknesses, they do a lot of damage. And this needs to be more of a streak of rounds from Zipto rather than a one and done blip on the radar. In fact, they've got so many credits, we're going to see an operator immediately purchased up from Dana. At least they're still getting loud. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah, you can't see that taper off too early. Look at this aggression from Dana. The Refract online needs to get around that corner soon, but a little too soon. In fact, it's Ever trading it out and keeping this even despite losing the big guns. They've got themselves a fair bit of control, and look at this from Sammy. The wrap up behind hasn't yet been fully spotted. The steps are heard, the plant will be coming through. This is very, very dangerous. You're going to see these players in spawn make noise. The dog sent through, the steps behind it. They know two players in spawn, and they're worried about bathroom, but for good reason. That player was bath, but now pushed all the way up behind. The timing is insane. Graham's just checked short, and Sammy tucked in, now swinging in for the kill. The advantage for Ninetales just keeps on compounding. They even spotted Piety trying to sneak out of the smoke. Ninetales right back into the lead. And they're on their feet again. You know, we started the game out, they're hugging down on the stage during the fist bumps, and I'm thinking, oh well, it's all gonna be friendly smiles across the stage. They'll be clapping, cheering each other on, but no, it's just been a game of mental warfare.
Just go like crying.
Yep.
It's
genuine mental warfare occurring.
That's toxic. Well, at least we're still giving it back. 3-2.
There are no friends on the server.
Lead taken. And this is what I was talking about with the economy. Only pistols in this round for Zipto. An attempt to do some damage. Some ults to play with, but other than the Nightfall ones that at times can be a little limiting in terms of the actual damage you can do with them. Art Seekers is also going to be gathered up by a full moon. Clearly wants a little bit more.
The dog's going to get a lot of info. The stun doesn't quite land. Full moon safely around that corner. Even popping a flash to go in. You know, it's a little risky. With Zipto having all these pistols, we're not going to see anything crazy. I'd imagine from Ninetales not pushing up like they have in a couple of these rounds so far. Say that, Sammy walks out of hookah. Not certain about that one, and that's a huge punish, especially when utility had just come. Like, you knew there was a player there, and on a pistol round where there's one, there's often more.
Oh, rifle retrieved.
Seeker's used.
Something extra to play with. Cosmic Divide going to be put into place as well. Nightfall also. They're throwing everything at this one, and Dana's managed to duck in between. They know there's one up above, and Yumi's done well. A quiet start to the game. Her first kills. Oh, this is risky. Really wanting to play through, but that is an easy fight for Graham's. Yumi has truly woken up, and now Ever is all that remains. An attempt to fight versus 3, and the first 2 went her way. I thought for a second she was about to do something crazy. Instead, it's the MasterCard Thrifty coming through for Zipto. That was insane reactions from her.
It was incredible. I'm genuinely excited to see this replay, because even if we slow it down, it's going to look too fast. Really nicely done by Zipto, but this is really... Oh! really stole our eye. Well, 3-3, and it's a much-needed win for Zipto. We're tying it up early on, not letting Ninetales run away with this. Keep in mind, this is the half they decided to start on, and now we start to see why. Feeling a little bit more comfortable. Graham's on the early TP, catches the opening duel. In comes the convergence path. A player took to the corner, but unfortunately, tries to use the utility and ends up paying with their life. A 2 versus 5,
slow, right?
and a really clean play from Zipto. Yeah, the convergence path had hit them.
Even getting out that utility or anything was going to be very, very difficult. It is a round done. One of the quicker as well. Like, Zipto have done well. I think Graham's on those entry has been fantastic in this map. And I think a good sign in the last round was the fact that I think in the first 5 rounds, Yuumi was 0-5. 3K in the last. Obviously, the thing we're talking about is Ever because of how ridiculous that attempt was. But her waking up, even only having a Sheriff, it's a pretty big piece. Now, they're trying to save these guns. So for Con, an attempt to try and remove them. Dane are not going to allow that to happen, and the others a little bit further away to really do any damage. Zipto will take the lead. After the streak of round from Ninetales, it was looking like a similar story to the last map, but they have stabilized.
Not too late either. Getting into that. And I think for Ninetales, at this stage, Zipto's starting to heat up. 3 out of 4 rounds. I don't think we're far away from getting a pause out. Probably if this round goes the other way, that's where we will see them just take a breather. They're happy to roll into this, where they've got 2 sheriffs, 2 rifles.
I'll find you.
A Bucky as well, I suppose,
I
is
have the spike.
warrants a mention. And this aggression from Dana. They did hear it, though. They heard the dashes going down, but probably assumed that the refract would be taken. Like, that's what has happened almost every time. But Dana, with one of the 2 rifles, is walking all the way through, and although seemed to catch Piety off guard, cancelled out by the drone. Yeah, no TP, but luckily.
I don't know if I've ever seen that with the, like, where you actually see the player, like, go, and then they're still in the same place. That must have been so confusing for Piety, but won't matter too much now. Haste. A little bit of an off angle might catch one by surprise. The Tiger.
Be right back.
It's going to give at least a little bit of information. That can start the rotation, but it is start the rotation. And considering how far in Yuumi already is, it's going to rely on full moon within the smoke.
They're not seeing anything, man. At this point, you have to think there's a sneaky play. Single player towards bathroom can't really be it, and full moon, they're waiting for that push out of the smoke. Ever has to make another impressive spray transfers. They all come swinging, and there's nothing going the way of Ninetales. Zipto 5-3 up, and a much better start than what we saw on the previous map.
Yeah, they've started to build, and you can already see the Ninetales are now going to opt to sort of take a moment. I think it's understandable. There's been a couple of moments. I think that round you can understand the hero play attempted by Dana, but it was more the round with the Cosmic Divide where they're up against pistols. Like you saw the aggressive push on B, which gave a gun over, and then a couple of players really taking big risks around that Cosmic Divide rather than playing the retake. I think the confidence might have got to them a little bit too much, and I think the coach is going to try and rein that in a bit, because if you go back to the last time these 2 teams played against each other on this map, it was actually Zipto having a very dominant defensive side. So this is not the greatest sign. Of course, different comp, different meta. We can expect changes as we did in the last map, but realistically, you don't want to allow too many attack side rounds for Zipto.
Yeah, and realistically, we saw it on the previous map as well. Over on Pearl, that timeout from Ninetales, once they made mistakes, the coach was like, okay, no, we actually gotta solve this issue before it gets out of hand. At this stage, like you said, it's hard.
Same mistakes. It was a mistake. They lost 1 round, and they were winning 12-4.
There are going to be multiple mistakes in that round. You know, losing a round is not a mistake in and of itself. But yeah, I think for Zipto, it's hard to estimate, right? As you're saying, we can expect a good defensive side from them because of the team itself, but different comp, different meta, completely unknown. Sort of how things are gonna play out. But I think for the most part, the assumption is that with these changes, the attackers have it worse in this meta. But then you add in that it's this double dive, and I think every map is going to be different. Bind, especially when There's so many, especially looking towards that A site, so many ways that you can use this waylay dash to steal information and map control away.
Here.
I don't know how exactly it will play out. Great flash, great dash again, just clearing these corners. It's such a strong composition for contesting map control, and you can see that Ninetales have to give that up. They can't really fight for it. The best they can hope for is information when it comes to that utility barrage.
It seems like the B site is definitely the point of call. Full Moon looking to be the one under pressure again, hit by a couple of pieces of utility and have been forced out of there. A reactive Cosmic Divide just to try and make that plant a little bit more awkward. And in fact, it's going to force a full rotation. 3-3-2 perfectly placed. This could be the moment for the judge to take over, but an important trade by Con. That will now allow them space, and actually the Cosmic Divide is going to help them out a little bit of getting into this site. Dane has taken a risk, and the risk pays off this time, but it's only for one. The spray is wild from ever. From beauty to the beast, as it has gone completely wrong.
Yeah, that one they're going to want to forget real quick. I think for Zipto as well, you know, although the actual push itself towards the A side works wonderfully, it's Yuumi who really rips this round apart, sticking around as the rotations are happening to find one from the elbow, and even ended up getting another one exiting elbow. So dismantling any chances of this squad getting back onto that site, making that retake happen, and then obviously the spray at the end didn't help. Korean isn't that good, but I know that one.
The crowd did. The crowd definitely did. 6-3. It seems like Zipto have found their way back. Ooh, just about escaping. Full Moon also tucked around the corner.
Face your fear!
And even still, they are not taking any chances. Nightfall utilized just to make sure that if there was a stack up, it would be revealed. And they're actually looking to put the pressure onto 3-3-2, make sure that nothing else goes astray. This is a dominant looking round and a flank is coming, but question kind of is how much can this do? Maybe one for free onto IT. There you go. That's something. Is there anything more?
From here, surely not. I mean, they're grouped up as well. You can see everybody on the backside. No one's out of position. You haven't got an isolated fight in hookah or anything like that. I don't think that went where it was supposed to go. And yeah, they're going to wrap back around, just try to make this costly, punish the exits, go down to the spike if necessary, as the ults are already online. But I think it really is important to grab a couple of kills. For Ninetales, Zipto running away with the economy. They're guaranteed now for the rest of the half. They're going to have money.
I think it's too far gone anyway.
Probably was actually at this point, yeah, with two left to play for. They're coming in, what, with 7K on everyone?
Yeah. Oh, 7-3. 5 in a row now for Zipto.
One enemy remaining.
It's also good to see Yumi's having a couple of big rounds, high impact kills, being embedded as well, and is the tip of the spear in terms of diving in. I mean, remember, you see Waylay a lot of the time here, Ninetales are avoiding those early fights, but if they do get spotted by that dash, you can immediately hit the stun, refract, and then someone else is following up. So it's very, very dangerous, exactly like that! But she even gets the kill before fading away! That's nasty!
Already. Just ultimate combo. Graham's, oh, actually take it down, in fact! 3-3-2 has evolved, taking over the round. Ultimates being counted across the board, and what started off so strong with this? Ooh, there we go. Capricious, even a little bit of body spam. Spike down on the ground though. It feels like it's going to have to be declared. This is a little bit aggressive though from 3-3-2, a completely isolated fight that could have easily gone wrong, but doesn't get punished for it. There's plenty of time for Zipto to play with. The advantage firmly sits with Ninetales, but you feel like they need this round a lot more than their opponents do.
Remaining. Last player standing.
After the timing there on the swing. Khan didn't know where the last player was. Another on the board for Ninetales just about. And that almost fell apart.
Yeah.
Sammy or 3-3-2 didn't know that the angle was a little bit shallower that her teammate was holding, but this opening was ridiculous. You dive in, you spot the player, and normally that's where you think, okay, I'm going to throw my stun out, I'm going to refract backwards, and then my teammate's going to trade it out. And Yumi just goes, no, I'm going to do it myself, and takes the fight. Quick, clean, and easy. One left to play for. 7-5 still possible, but for Zipto, they're going to want to hammer home this victory. Off in hands. More Graves early on, and well, Yumi, same old trick, but almost gets punished.
Yeah, a lot of ults burnt up in the last round as well, so it does leave an advantage in that case to the defensive side. The B push has been where the majority of success is, and this jiggle peek is going to get punished. The operator picked up specifically for this round. Dana with ult online is getting ready to use that convergence path, but I'll be honest, it seems a little bit early. There was nobody really challenged by that ult. Sure, it slowed them down, but with the advantage, I'm more interested in the position of 3-3-2. This is a spot that I definitely wasn't expecting to see a defender on, and maybe a chance to take out Piety completely if the spot is made, or maybe a little bit more. No, that's a fake rotate, but can keep the information. It seems like Piety now has the idea, has the read.
Oh, saw the ankle. The shoelace round the corner. That's unfortunate. It's on the site. Haste falls. You feel like this is Sammy's chance to really have that impact, but a known factor at this stage. Grahams will be watching it off in hand. Easy pickup. And Zipto, they seem to have done everything they need to not just lead at the halftime, but to have a decent margin to work with as well. Again, we have promise, or hope rather, of what that defensive side could be. This round, not yet done, but 1 HP in the difference. It's just moments away. 8-4 at the halftime. Zipto showing a much better face here on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, you could see in the early rounds there was still some shakiness, still a player here or there that looked a little bit rough, but the 5-round streak seems to have brought them back into contention. We'll see if this is a return to form or if Ninetales can turn it after the break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, folks. This could be Zipto's final stand, but they're looking much, much better. Standing tall after half number one as we get into our Coinbase Econ report. And Yumi really did draw our eye. That performance shift, and we talked a lot about the Waylay being picked up. It certainly has done her justice.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous because we saw even in the opening match, she seemed to struggle quite a bit. Last map definitely wasn't there, but this is the Yumi that we've sort of expected when we've seen playing in Pacific, so I think it's definitely a great sign. And the fact that Grahams has also kept up the same level of form and had a high amount of impact in a lot of those opening battles, this is a much better looking Zipto, and from insane confidence, it doesn't seem to have hurt them too much, still waving to their opponents while waiting for the half, but we will be getting back into things. Of course, a pistol for Ninetales here feels fairly important, otherwise Zipto might just be stealing their map choice as well.
Well, that's exactly it, Tom, for Ninetales. Coming in here, though, playing on the attack side, eyes on Dana. Let's see what she can do. We already had a solid performance from EMEA, and that, although the Yoru flashes were a big part of how much space was able to be fought for, I think that waylay, in terms of the dive in and getting out with the refract, you can see on this map, there's almost no position where that isn't beneficial, where it doesn't allow you to get into a nook or a cranny, and alongside some of the other utility, you can get yourself some decent control. Zipto looking for some of their own as they walk down on mid. There's 2 players here, and Haste, actually catches the timing. Could have ended up with a kill, but it's Graham's to draw first blood, and then they flood around that corner. Numbers being thrown at Ninetales, and Zipto come out ahead in almost every engagement.
Yeah, the fact is, after pushing into mid and being spotted, it actually delayed that middle push and just meant that rather than the attackers surrounding the defenders were able to pincer down. Still an opportunity though for Haste. The first goes away without too much trouble, but the paranoia is going to leave her with not a hope in hell. It is Zipto to extend their lead ever further, 9-4. I know those faces. It's in somewhere before.
Can't think of where. Yeah, a pistol round for Zipto here. This is where Ninetales would have been coming in, hoping to find it, but you know, the reality is, starting out this map, it feels like the shoe's on the other foot. Ninetales, they lose the pistol, they find early success in like a 3-2 scoreline, and now they're sat 9-4, getting a taste of their own medicine. The Zipto very much seem to have found their form. Graham's again delivering that opening duel, this time with the Outlaw. It feels like gun game in those early fights. Although there's been no upgrade, just continues to find impact. And in this round, you'd expect nothing less. A shot to the body is more than enough. Now, we talked about the Stinger. It's not gotten a lot of love. It used to be.
You love the Stinger.
It certainly used to be one of my top 3. But nowadays,
all I want to say is
it's not good.
Whoever nerfed it, thank you. So I don't have to listen to him go on about it all the time. It genuinely made me very happy that gun sucks now.
Yeah, and that the Spectre's good. I mean, it felt like a targeted change, I'll be honest.
Honestly,
but
maybe I'm the dev. We'll never know. We'll never know.
You can send an email.
Who added that wall onto Ascent? Love them as well. That was brilliant.
Listen now. Don't you
hurting the Odin players? Wonderful.
It's on site.
Portal closed.
And speaking of on site, that's where Ninetales are trying to go, towards the A side. But again, that Outlaw is still just sat waiting for them to make a move. 30 seconds left. They're eventually going to need to go. You don't want to hold on to your classics and your Bucky for the next. And the hope here is just that someone on Zipto gets aggressive, plays a silly game. And they're not going to look for silly prizes. Instead, they want some more orbs towards that dimensional drift. What's going on here?
Well, I think there's, I don't know if this was an attempted ruse to try and get a bomb, but it has not worked. Yeah, almost needs to die at this point, but if anything, you might just want to leave Dana with a Bucky. Yeah, sure, okay.
He's also hiding.
Yeah, she's going to hold on to the Bucky for the next round. That's an interesting one.
That could be a first for me. Okay, ideas. Why are you keeping the Bucky for the next? I mean, you could go down and buy the Bucky, but we don't want to give orbs to the Yoru. That makes sense. We're planning some sort of aggressive dive into
I think
lamps.
you're trying to rationalize something that can't be rationalized. I think that's just a mistake, and it's a mistake that now means instead of having a rifle, then has a Bucky. So you never know. Maybe she's about to Bucky ace and all of us are going to look like idiots. And if that happens, I'll be very excited. Unfortunately, it now puts thereby not quite level with their opponents, but it's definitely not great. There's a Bucky on the other side. Maybe she's just trying to match up to the opponents. I'd be a little bit more worried, though, about that Outlaw. It has been fierce so far.
Well, you can see that Haste certainly was the second. The first shot of the Outlaw rings out. Haste is out of there. Running back over. What's this be signed? Nice shot by Full Moon, but in the corner here, Bucky with a chance, and that chance faded very, very quickly. Graham's running for the hills. And even this flank that's coming through, you can see Yumi and Capricious are on their way, but there is a trap waiting for them.
There you go, now the Bucky's good.
Yeah, this was, it was the game plan.
Well, the crazy thing is, I think Graham's had 2 players on like incredibly low HP, but Ever's now been healed up by Full Moon. Unfortunately, Full Moon can't actually heal herself, so that's not going to work out.
They've smoked it off.
A couple of players are on that flank. But I also feel like at this late in the round, you're going to have the expectation that they could have wrapped around some of these positions. You can even see they put a star down into this.
No,
but it's whether or not anybody else can get that little bit further there. Whoa, the realization just comes too late, and actually, Yumi's now managed to do so much damage. The problem is the time, but it's the cost that has been caused. That was 4 guns taken out at the last second, and well, even though Zipto didn't win the round, I think they'll be quite happy with that.
Because that's the thing, Tom. You say like, oh, well, they're going to think about the flank, right? Someone wrapping around.
They did put a star in there.
They were watching it. They were watching the people walking over to Fountain. So if no one's come Fountain and we've got a trap on short, then no one can be in hookah, right? Wrong. And now you get punished massively. That impact is insane. And it all comes off the back of a star. Just one little smoke placed by Capricious, and that changed the round completely from what was already going to be a decent success if you got a couple to a big blow to the economy of their opposition. Ninetales 10-5, and look at the buy. It is stinky. Yeah, they've got pistols.
They're almost playing this as a bonus themselves. They've got enough to buy into the next. Post-plant here would be nice, though. That at least makes things a little bit more interesting. Just the sheer direct nature, and actually the Gravwell is too little too late. It's not going to do what was expected. What was around where it looked like there was little hope, now there is some.
The retake over Lamb's not going to be ideal. Instead, they look towards the site. A solid start with Full Moon down already. That flash removed. Nice shot by Ever. That's the weakest weapon in play. You still have the Bookie inside Lambs, but if the rest of them go down, what can the Bookie do in terms of denying that defuse? In fact, being stuck inside this smoke as well, even with the Sheriff, they're not doing anything to stop it. Hold on! That shot landed through the smoke. Blind fire. Haste has to do the same, though. And it will not happen, although the diffuser gets killed.
It does happen,
they'd already diffused.
Oh, a nice attempt. I think there may have also been a Gravwell that missed in that, because I think I heard it, and it didn't actually pull a player off the spike. So I don't know if they were blocking in the middle of it, but it seemed like nobody challenged until much, much later into the moment. Well, yeah, there you go. You can see her getting moved, but not actually denied off the defuse. So that was why you didn't really see everybody running in and panicking, because they didn't think it was being defused at all. Nonetheless, what was invested, it's not too bad, but then you look at the scoreline, you look at how much more could have been. Look at Graham's. Just going walkabouts into fake smoke. She is way past the line, but it's a whiff. She gets out, though. It's fine.
Yeah, safely towards A Heaven. The push out of Bathroom from Zipto's gotten themselves an early trade-off. Thinning out the herd, though, of the defense more so. And then even double down on, but a second player in this position shouldn't be expected. And Piety's able to easily take this back to level ground. The op, though,
I've got your
no
trail.
info on where it is as the Seekers go out. A lot of them going towards that B site, but it's it's dragged the rotates. Zipto have given up A. And Ninetales, where's the spike going? Okay, it is going to the A site. They're going to have a free plant.
I think the worry, though, is because nothing has been spotted by Full Moon, they're starting to doubt themselves whether or not this has actually gone their way. In fact, it's a decent rotation already. Yuumi should have a freebie, but no, Dana is playing defense, holding that line and gets a second as well. The flank in, but Ever now watching. There were moments, but Ninetales make it out. The 6th round for them, still a long streak back needed, but it's a start.
It certainly is. I do like the positions here. You see when Ninetales go for the actual... that was a tough one.
Slightly moving, that's what that was.
But you see when they go for that, the retake, when Zipto are on their way back through and the plant is being attempted, Dana stands out at a different angle, hearing those rotations through spawn, knowing that that ultimate is online and not wanting to get hit by the convergence path. So yes, the plants are completely stunned up. No option to get anywhere close to a kill, but Dana's there. And that's what changes the round, what puts it in the pocket of Ninetales. Now we look for a little more on the attack, but the defensive side getting aggressive. Capricious is the one to open this up, but then it quickly crumbles. Obviously with those weak weapons, Zipto saving up for the next, but the streak that is needed now gets a little bit more manageable for Ninetales. They've got big ultis as well coming online for the buy round of Zipto.
Question is, can Con do any additional damage? chance is incredibly low. They know exactly where she is already. Even knifing the edge of the smoke. 3-3-2. Having a little bit of fun with it. Of course, was spotted earlier by the chokehold and even being wrapped on from behind. It is something they maybe need to be a little bit more careful of. 2 players lost. Maybe having a bit too much fun.
Yeah, costly. A gap of 4 rounds. You know, I am curious to see because, again, the conversation we had earlier was about that defensive side for Zipto looking solid. And I think when you're running this Yoru with the Waylay, you have a lot of opportunities in terms of how you want to approach your defensive side, whether you want to get aggressive, whether you want to play reactive. But I do think that we're missing that flair from Pearl, where constantly Zipto were pushing down, they were taking control. It didn't work a lot of the time. I'd like to see it attempted here, especially now that we've got that double duelist, and it's exactly what they go for. They've gone right down through bathroom, and they've ended up being flushed out of that position. A 5 versus 4 already as Nightfall goes in, up close. Piety inside the smoke, isn't going to get too aggressive, but has players ready to dive into it, and if there's a smoke that's popped, or flash that's popped rather, there's going to be a big problem with Khan already down. Zipto needs someone to step up, and that flash was perfect.
This now becomes incredibly unlikely. Capricious at least does well, but anything from here onwards seems incredibly unlikely. Full Moon has been spotted while the cover was there. I think hopeful that anything would be found. The streak continues for Ninetales, 8th on the board. Starting to see that momentum go, and that was the major factor with the streak in the last map, and something their coach, or the Zipto coach, will desperately want to avoid. Pause called.
Yeah, I think the other thing about this is that we didn't really see massive ultimates being baited out, but the one that they used was enough. The fact that Samsami 332 or your veto player, your veto player for Ninetales can't then be hit by any of the utility that's coming through. It also allows you to, for example, pop a flash inside a smoke while they're running in. Doesn't matter if they get blind because they ain't gonna lose their vision. And so for Zipto, it's a difficult round, but then you have big ultis coming into the next buy round for this squad. Baiting them out here would be great, but the pressure is starting to mount as, again, the stakes of this matchup, there's no longer a lower bracket to fall back to. This is elimination. And for Zipto,
we need to go around.
They can feel it slipping.
I got that. We need to make sure we go around sometimes, and then maybe left or right.
I'm gonna get coach out of you.
My sign language is actually fantastic. I can say 0 things. Nonetheless, 11-8. It's only going to be pistols once again, so another opportunity for Ninetales to close that gap ever further. 3 in a row already. Another 3 needed to even things up with a map already under their belt. This one was looking like it could have been a similar scoreline, but in the other direction, but that has very quickly changed.
The attack side has been very kind to Ninetales so far. 5-player grouped up, looking to push up against the Eco. I think this is the perfect adaptation, knowing that Zipto are likely to either play the numbers, look for those trades, or play the default when you'll always have the numbers advantage for yourself. So an easy push through to the B site. They've used one of their ultimates, which for Zipto already is a decent trade-off. They have to do nothing for that. They've now taken down Dana. There's a potential weapon to be picked up. They'll have to fight for it, but it's ever there. Now they've lost Full Moon as well.
No.
Now Samsami goes down, and this round has crumbled for Ninetales. They need a hero play up against the Eco.
Only one has been retrieved, but already they're trying to use that Cosmic Divide, and it forces them in for the fight. Con with a couple of nasty shots to close out the round, and well, I don't know what the coach of Zipto said, but I really want to know now, because that has pulled off a MasterCard Thrifty to take them to 12.
That's a shame. I think Ninetales did everything right to start this off, and then even throwing through the Armageddon to get them into elbow. It maybe feels like a little much, but then you have to think about what they were up against. They knew there was a Cosmic Divide in play, so the easy thing to do against an eco is to play back on long, to take ranged fights, to use a little bit of utility to run that clock down. And instead, they go for this adaptation of, okay, we're going to play a little ahead of it. We're going to try to force some of those fights early, but what that ends up doing is just giving Zipto these like XV1 fights. The same thing that happened in Elbow, it happens on the site. Ninetales are not trading, and Zipto, they also weren't trading because they weren't dying, but you could see that there was always two players going for the swing.
I want to point out as well, I think that's the first time that Grams has used the Dimensional Drift in an eco again, and it's actually paid off this time. So was able to get them a little bit of information around some of those closer angles, and I definitely think that helped them out on those initial site fights. Nonetheless, same opportunity on the other side. It is Ninetales now taking themselves a pause. They managed 3 in a row just moments ago. Now they need to go for 4. Of course, economy through the roof. And interestingly, you mentioned some of the aggressive pushes that Zipto were going for. Well, the attack side feel the need to pull in an operator to try and deny them.
I see that for one of the first times, Yoru and Awele grouped up. Seems like it's just a high, medium,
squad.
and low setup over on that A side. But it's B where the pressure's coming through. The thing is, it's all a bait. It's a ruse to try to get the aggression out. You can see that the trap is covering off that left side push if they do go down on mid. But then on that right side, you've got 2 players holding, waiting, the op, wanting to get an opening pick as they push down through Bath. Utility coming out over towards this B site confirms that there's still at least one sitting outside of B. And for Zipto right now, they've got no real actionable information in terms of where this play is coming through, but Ninetales don't really have direction just yet because their hope is that somebody can be caught off guard, and so far that is far from the case.
Reveal has been shot. Spike starting to go back. Now I'm looking at the fact that Dana's the one with the ult on the other side. Here is that potential piece of aggression. That's a freebie, but the trade from Yumi! A 2-for-1 combo deal that might have just ended the map. Con now with another. It leaves Ever
30 seconds left.
with everything to try and do. A 1 versus 4, 25 seconds. And so much to try, but nothing will come through. It is Con to close. Zipto have done the same on their opponent's map choice. We are going to 3.